he also talked about the offense and being a play caller as well, which I think will be a good discussion for us to have in the remaining couple weeks of this season and seeing what Florida State does staff wise in that room. But he said we haven't had a good enough offense this year. It's been awful. We all know it. We have all watched it. Everything is on the table in regard to that play caller position and joining him on the field there. That's something that I'm keeping a close eye on, along with I'm sure the rest of us on Here the Spear are, because I know Dustin, you said you don't think that's going to happen. VZ said it needs to happen. I think probably Dustin, you think it should happen as well. I think we all three agree that there's got to be a change there, because right now Florida State's offense under Mike and then whatever you had there with Alex Atkins, very predictable at the moment right now. It doesn't even seem like there's even a chance for Florida State to be a threat offensively. That's why there's probably a desired need to add a true play caller to come in and hopefully shake things up to make things even interesting. And you got to change. I mean, there's got to be a whole 180 change on that side of the ball going into 2025.
And I think Mike Norvell has basically signaled that that's going to be the plan that Florida State is kind of going with, looking into this offensive coordinator hire. To go ahead and fire Alex Atkins with 2 games remaining in the season. Obviously, Norvell is the primary play caller, but Atkins is the designated offensive coordinator and helps with a lot of the preparation and things like that. With him making that move, it seems like he's just really looking to go and find someone that can come in and maybe take control, innovate this Florida State offense. And Mike Norvell, he's still going to have a lot of input on that side of the ball, because that's where he's the most useful at Florida State as an on-field coach. We've seen what he's done throughout his coaching career, whether it be at Memphis or at some of those coaching stops where he was an assistant. I mean, Mike Norvell is a prolific offensive mind. And, I don't think one season you can just go ahead and totally throw that by the wayside. But whoever he brings in, I definitely think Florida State, they're looking to innovate things and kind of change it up a little bit and, obviously get it back to being very explosive on Saturdays.
Yeah, and they'll have a few different options. Obviously, we'll discuss them here soon, but go ahead and get rid of Dugans and Atkins. Obviously, Atkins was OC and O-line coach, but there's options out there that are wide receiver based as offensive coordinators, that are quarterback based as offensive coordinators. And, I don't think any three of us think Tokars is safe over the next few weeks as a quarterbacks coach, but Norvell's going to have a ton of options, whether he wants to keep calling plays, whether it wants to be like it was a few years ago where him and Dillingham are basically splitting the play calling duties. At least that's what was reported. I don't know if any of us actually believe that, but he's going to have a lot of options. And, it's time for this offense to get innovative again, because it's been pretty bland the last few years. Even last year when the team was really good, the offense felt bland.
And I will say to that point, that was something that Mike Norvell talked about a little bit. He was asked if an offensive coordinator coming in, if they would have to handle a certain position group, one that's open right now, whether that be offensive line or receivers. And, he said he's open to all things and isn't necessarily looking for someone that's an offensive coordinator and focused on a certain position. I think there is some possibility of some flexibility on this offensive staff. Tony Tokars, he does have some experience coaching tight ends during his career as a coach. I don't know if maybe that's something where if they were to bring in an offensive coordinator who has a quarterback-based background, would Tokars be willing to make that switch? Is something that Florida State would possibly gauge? I don't think everything's necessarily set in stone, and Florida State they're willing to be flexible with it to get things to work out.